If there's one thing I've learned from years of gardening, it's this. Your soil determines everything. You can buy the best plants, follow every planting calendar, and water like clockwork. But if you don't understand what's happening below the surface, you're gardening blind. Here at the Soil Science Garden, we talk a lot about working with the soil instead of against it. And that starts with knowing what kind of soil you actually have. The good news? You don't need a lab, expensive equipment, or a degree in soil science to get meaningful answers. A simple DIY soil test can tell you more than you might expect, and it can completely change how successful your garden becomes. Let's walk through how to understand your soil, why it matters so much, and how to test it yourself using simple, reliable methods you can do right at home. Soil isn't just dirt. It's a living system made up of minerals, organic matter, air, water, and billions of microorganisms working together. When that system is out of balance, plants struggle. When it's healthy, plants thrive with less effort from you. Testing your soil gives you clarity. It helps you understand why certain plants struggle, why others explode with growth, and what changes will actually make a difference. Instead of guessing which fertilizer to buy or which amendment to add, you can make decisions based on real information. For beginners, this prevents frustration and wasted money. For experienced gardeners, it fine-tunes your approach and helps you push your garden to the next level. Before we test anything, it helps to understand what we're looking for. Most garden soils fall somewhere between sand, silt, and clay. Rarely is a soil just one thing. It's usually a mix, but knowing which one dominates matters. Sandy soil feels gritty, drains quickly, and warms up fast in spring. It's easy to work with but struggles to hold nutrients and moisture. Clay soil feels sticky when wet and hard when dry. It holds nutrients well but drains poorly and can suffocate roots if compacted. Loam, the gardener's dream, is a balanced mix that holds moisture while still draining well. Knowing your soil texture helps you choose plants, watering habits, and amendments that actually work instead of fighting nature. One of my favorite DIY tests is the classic jar test because it's simple, visual, and surprisingly accurate. Take a sample of soil from your garden bed, digging down about 6 inches to avoid surface debris. Remove rocks and roots, then place the soil in a clear jar about halfway full. Add water until the jar is nearly full, then add a drop of dish soap to help separate particles. Shake it vigorously and set it somewhere undisturbed. Over the next 24 hours, the soil will settle into layers. Sand sinks first, silt settles above it, and clay forms the top layer. Organic matter may float or remain suspended longer. By observing the thickness of each layer, you get a clear picture of your soil's texture. This alone explains a lot about drainage issues, root growth, and nutrient retention. Drainage problems are one of the most common reasons gardens fail. Too much water starves roots of oxygen, too little stresses plants constantly. To test drainage, you'll want to dig a hole about a foot deep and wide. Fill it with water and let it drain completely. Then, fill it again, and time how long it takes to empty. If the water drains in less than an hour, your soil drains very fast and likely leans sandy. If it takes several hours, drainage is moderate and generally healthy. If water sits for more than 24 hours, you're dealing with poor drainage, often caused by clay or compaction. This test helps you decide whether to amend soil, raise beds, or choose plants that tolerate wet conditions. Never underestimate what your hands can tell you. Gardeners have relied on this method for generations, and it still works. Take a moist handful of soil and squeeze it gently. If it falls apart immediately, it's sandy. If it forms a loose ball that crumbles when poked, you're likely working with loam. If it forms a sticky, dense ball that holds its shape, clay is dominant. Soil pH controls nutrient availability. You can have plenty of nutrients in your soil, but if the pH is off, plants can't access them. Many gardeners use inexpensive home pH kits, which are generally accurate enough for practical gardening decisions. For a truly DIY approach, you can do a basic vinegar and baking soda test to see whether your soil leans acidic or alkaline. Place soil in 2 containers. Add vinegar to one. If it fizzes, your soil is alkaline. Add water and baking soda to the other. If it fizzes, your soil is acidic. If neither reacts strongly, your soil is likely close to neutral. This won't give you exact numbers, but it provides useful direction, especially when choosing plants or deciding whether to add lime or sulfur. Sometimes your garden tells you what your soil won't, at least not directly. Yellowing leaves, poor flowering, stunted growth, or weak root systems often point to underlying soil issues. Weeds can also be clues. Certain weeds thrive in compacted soil, while others prefer acidic or nitrogen-poor conditions. Instead of seeing weeds as enemies, see them as messengers revealing what your soil is doing. The more time you spend observing patterns in your garden, the better you become at reading soil health without testing tools at all. Testing is only useful if it leads to action. Once you understand your soil, the path forward becomes much clearer. Sandy soils benefit from compost and organic matter to improve moisture and nutrient retention. Clay soils respond well to organic amendments that improve structure and drainage over time. Poor drainage may call for raised beds or deep-rooted cover crops. pH imbalances can be adjusted gradually with the right amendments. The key is patience. Soil improvement is a long-term relationship, not a quick fix, and that's part of what makes gardening so rewarding. When you test your own soil, you stop relying on guesswork and start gardening with intention. You become more confident, more observant, and more connected to your growing space. At the Soil Science Garden, we believe soil knowledge is one of the most powerful tools a gardener can have. It saves time, money, and frustration, and it turns gardening from trial and error into a thoughtful, rewarding process. If this guide helped you see your soil differently, imagine what a deeper understanding could do for your entire garden. Soil is where everything begins, and learning to read it is one of the most valuable skills you can develop as a gardener. If you enjoyed this deep dive, subscribe to the Soil Science Garden on YouTube for more practical, science-based gardening insights you can actually use. Share this article with a fellow gardener who's struggling, curious, or just getting started. And let's keep growing better gardens from the ground up.